Keir Starmer's leadership is hanging by a thread. In a political drama that rivals the most intense episodes of House of Cards, over 150 Labour MPs are reportedly on the verge of a massive revolt against their own leader. The cause? Controversial welfare cuts that threaten to redefine the very soul of the Labour Party. This isn't just a policy disagreement, it's a full-blown mutiny that could force Starmer out of office. The atmosphere within the Labour Party is electric with tension. Reports indicate that more than 150 MPs are preparing to vote against proposed welfare reforms, marking what could be the most significant rebellion of Starmer's tenure. The proposed cuts, particularly to personal independence payments, PIP, and universal credit for those unable to work due to health conditions, have ignited a firestorm of opposition within the party ranks. The backlash isn't limited to backbenchers. Frontbenchers are reportedly poised to resign if the government doesn't reconsider its stance. One parliamentary private secretary expressed horror at the direction of the government, suggesting that the Prime Minister is out of touch with his MPs' sentiments. This internal discord underscores a growing chasm between the party leadership and its members, many of whom feel that the proposed welfare cuts betray the party's foundational principles of social justice and support for the vulnerable. The situation is further complicated by the political optics. Labour's recent partial U-turn on restricting winter fuel payments, following public and internal pressure, has done little to assuage concerns. The lack of clarity and detail in the revised proposals has left many MPs unconvinced, fearing that the changes are superficial and fail to address the core issues at stake. As the party grapples with this internal crisis, the public's gaze is fixed on the unfolding drama. The coming weeks will be pivotal in determining not only the fate of the proposed welfare reforms, but also the future of Keir Starmer's leadership. The Labour Party stands at a crossroads, and the decisions made now will reverberate through British politics for years to come. What started as quiet grumblings in the back rooms of Parliament has now exploded into a full-blown political revolt that's shaking Labour's foundations. Keir Starmer, once heralded as the man to steady the ship after Jeremy Corbyn's divisive tenure, is now facing an unprecedented insurrection from within his own party. Over 150 Labour MPs are said to be aligning in a quiet but powerful mutiny, and what was once dismissed as backbench noise has transformed into an undeniable movement demanding change at the top. This isn't a small internal disagreement, it's a full-scale rebellion driven by discontent, distrust and fears that Starmer's leadership could cost Labour the next general election. What makes this uprising even more explosive is that many of these MPs were once Starmer loyalists. Now, with their political futures at risk, they're jumping ship, and fast. Behind closed doors, key figures are said to be holding secret meetings, strategizing Starmer's ousting before the election. Campaign heats up. Sources close to Labour HQ describe an atmosphere of paranoia and panic, with whispers of resignation letters being drafted and confidence votes looming. The word coup is no longer a dramatic exaggeration, it's a real and present threat. What's more shocking is that some senior shadow cabinet members are rumoured to be involved in this revolt. The very people Starmer trusts may now be plotting his political demise. As whispers grow louder, pressure mounts on Starmer to confront the mutiny head-on, but his silence is only fueling the storm. At the heart of the rebellion is a growing belief that Starmer has drifted too far from Labour's traditional values. The grassroots are fuming. Long-time Labour voters say they no longer recognise the party they once supported. Immigration policies, Brexit ambiguity, and Starmer's failure to connect with working-class communities have triggered outrage. Many MPs fear they'll lose their seats if they continue backing him. And with Reform UK and Nigel Farage gaining traction, these MPs see Starmer as a liability, not a leader. With every passing day, his hold on the party weakens, and murmurs of potential successors are turning into strategic calculations. The rebel MPs aren't just complaining, they're mobilising. A coordinated letter calling for a leadership challenge is said to be in circulation, and some insiders claim it has already been signed by over 120 MPs. If it reaches the 150 mark, Labour will be thrown into a constitutional crisis that could shatter its unity right before a general election. This revolt is not just a threat, It's a ticking time bomb, and the fuse is burning fast. Meanwhile, Starmer's allies are scrambling to contain the fallout. Emergency meetings have reportedly been held in Westminster, but nothing has quelled the rebellion. If anything, the chaos has intensified. The public reaction has been equally dramatic. Social media is ablaze with speculation. Hashtags like Suik Starmer out and Chi Labour coup are trending, with voters expressing frustration, anger and confusion. The country is watching a once stable political party spiral into civil war, and Starmer's inability to respond swiftly is only adding fuel to the fire. Commentators are questioning whether he ever truly had control, or if his leadership has been nothing more than a temporary truce in a deeply divided party. The pressure is enormous, and the consequences of inaction are catastrophic. Starmer's aides are reportedly urging him to go on the offensive, but he remains distant and calculating. Perhaps he's buying time, perhaps he's plotting his counterattack, but time is a luxury he no longer has. With MPs defecting, allies turning cold, and rivals preparing to strike, Keir Starmer is trapped in a political nightmare. The rebellion is real, and it's gaining momentum by the hour. What happens next could rewrite the course of British politics. Will Starmer fight back and crush the revolt, or will he become the latest leader to fall victim to the ruthless power struggles of Westminster? The storm is here, and Keir Starmer is at its epicentre. The consequences of this mounting rebellion against Keir Starmer extend far beyond the corridors of the Labour Party, threatening to trigger a seismic upheaval across British politics. As over 150 MPs prepare to openly challenge Starmer's leadership, the political landscape is on the verge of a dramatic transformation. This internal crisis is not merely about one leader's position. It represents a fundamental breakdown within one of the UK's largest political parties, whose stability is critical to the balance of power in Westminster. The impending revolt will almost certainly force Labour into chaos, and with a general election looming, the stakes could not be higher. Political analysts warn that a party consumed by infighting is a party vulnerable to defeat, and the Tory government is likely to exploit this division mercilessly. The spectre of a leadership contest is looming large. If Starmer is forced to resign or is ousted by a confidence vote, Labour will face an emergency leadership election under intense public scrutiny. This contest will ignite fierce battles between the party's various factions, exposing deep ideological rifts that have simmered beneath the surface for years. Moderate centrists, traditional socialists and newer populist elements are all vying for influence, and with the party's future hanging in the balance, their conflict could split Labour further. The potential for fracturing the party beyond repair is real, and some warn it could lead to splinter groups or defections that dramatically weaken Labour's ability to challenge the Conservatives in the next election. Moreover, the revolt has emboldened other opposition parties. Reform UK in particular sees an opening to capitalise on Labour's turmoil by attracting disaffected voters and even defecting MPs. Reports suggest that Reform UK leaders are in talks with disgruntled Labour MPs exploring the possibility of crossing the floor, signalling a shift in the political alliances that have long defined Westminster. The Liberal Democrats, too, are preparing to seize any advantage, positioning themselves as a stable alternative amid Labour's crisis. Such realignments could fragment the anti-Conservative vote, effectively handing Boris Johnson's party an electoral edge. In this volatile environment, the traditional two-party dominance faces an unprecedented challenge. The timing of the revolt could not be worse for Starmer and Labour. With the economy struggling under inflationary pressures, rising energy costs, and ongoing post-Brexit challenges, voters are seeking strong leadership and clear direction. Labour's internal chaos presents a stark contrast to the Conservative government's carefully crafted image of stability and control, despite its own scandals and difficulties. Starmer's inability to maintain party unity raises questions about his competency and undermines his credibility as a future Prime Minister. This perception is damaging at a time when Labour desperately needs to present itself as a government in waiting, capable of restoring confidence and prosperity. Furthermore, the media is already intensifying scrutiny on Starmer and his beleaguered leadership. Front-page headlines, Relentless news cycles and sharp editorial commentary paint a picture of a party in freefall. Starmer's every move is dissected, his speeches analysed for signs of weakness, and his political capital rapidly eroding. Opponents within Parliament are exploiting the chaos to push narratives of incompetence and failure. This media storm adds a relentless pressure that could hasten Starmer's downfall as public opinion shifts away from Labour. The crisis also affects party morale as activists and volunteers question their faith in the leadership, potentially reducing grassroots enthusiasm and voter turnout. Inside the party, the revolt is already causing fractures among MPs and officials. Some are hedging their bets, expressing cautious optimism about Starmer's survival, while privately preparing for leadership change. Others are openly critical, calling for a fresh vision and renewed focus on policies that resonate with working class voters. The sense of urgency is palpable. Many fear that delay could spell disaster. As the rebellion grows, so too does the risk of resignations, defections, and public confrontations that could further destabilise Labour. Starmer's challenge is not only to quell the revolt, but to rebuild trust and forge a united front capable of withstanding the political storm ahead. In addition, the broader impact on British democracy must be considered. A weakened opposition threatens the essential balance of parliamentary power, risking a government unchecked by effective scrutiny. The Labour Party's turmoil could erode public trust in democratic institutions at a time when political polarisation is already high. The possibility of a snap election called amid this chaos raises fears of voter fatigue and disengagement. Moreover, the crisis highlights deeper questions about party leadership structures, the role of MPs versus grassroots members, and the future direction of the Labour movement. As the political earthquake unfolds, its aftershocks will be felt across the UK's political, social and economic fabric for years to come. Ultimately, the fate of Keir Starmer's leadership is intertwined with the future of the Labour Party itself. This rebellion, fueled by frustration and fear, marks a critical turning point. Whether Starmer manages to survive and reassert control or is swept away by the tide of dissent, the consequences will reverberate throughout Westminster and the country. With the nation watching, one thing is certain: British politics is entering a period of profound uncertainty, and the coming weeks could redefine its landscape in ways few anticipated. The revolt against Starmer is not just a leadership crisis. It is a pivotal moment that will shape the destiny of Labour and the direction of the UK for the foreseeable future. The political crisis engulfing Keir Starmer and the Labour Party is more than just an internal struggle. It represents a crucial juncture in the United Kingdom's political history. The ramifications extend beyond the immediate battle for leadership and will influence not only the future of Labour, but also the trajectory of the entire political system. The potential collapse or significant weakening of the main opposition party would leave a vacuum in the UK's democratic framework, with serious consequences for governance, accountability, and public trust. At a time when the country faces pressing challenges, ranging from economic instability to social divisions, the absence of a strong, united opposition threatens to undermine the checks and balances that are essential for a healthy democracy. 1. Of the most immediate concerns is the prospect of a snap general election. If the revolt within Labour escalates to the point where Starmer is forced to step down and the party enters a prolonged leadership contest, the party's effectiveness as an opposition force will be severely diminished. This scenario could prompt the Conservative government to call an early election, capitalising on Labour's disarray. Such an election would almost certainly favour the ruling party, which would present itself as the only option for stability amid Labour's chaos. The timing of this potential election could dramatically shift the political landscape, either consolidating Conservative power or, alternatively, opening the door for new political actors to emerge, especially if Labour's internal divisions prove too deep to overcome quickly. The rise of alternative parties, such as Reform UK, cannot be ignored in this context. Reform UK has been positioning itself as a viable political force, attracting voters disillusioned with both the Conservatives and Labour. The ongoing rebellion within Labour offers Reform UK an unprecedented opportunity to expand its influence by courting defectors and appealing to disenchanted Labour supporters. This dynamic risks fragmenting the traditional two-party system that has dominated British politics for decades. A fragmented opposition vote would not only weaken Labour, but could also complicate the electoral math, potentially leading to coalition governments or minority administrations in the future. The political instability this could cause raises questions about the effectiveness of the UK's current electoral system and whether reforms might be necessary to ensure greater representation and stability. Labour's internal crisis also sheds light on deeper ideological struggles within the party and the broader left. The competing visions for Labour's future, between those advocating a centrist, pragmatic approach and those pushing for a more radical socialist agenda, are at the heart of this revolt. This ideological clash reflects wider societal debates about the direction the country should take on key issues such as economic policy, social justice, immigration, and foreign relations. How Labour resolves this conflict will have significant implications for its policy platform and electoral appeal. A party that emerges united and clear in its vision could recover and become a formidable force once again. Conversely, failure to reconcile these differences risks ongoing factionalism and voter alienation. The media's role in amplifying the crisis cannot be overstated. The relentless coverage of Labour's troubles fuels public perception of a party in decline and magnifies internal disputes. This environment makes it increasingly difficult for Starmer or any successor to gain the political momentum needed to rebuild. Negative media narratives contribute to voter disillusionment and cynicism, which in turn depress voter turnout and engagement. The challenge for Labour is not only to manage the revolt internally, but also to counteract the damaging external narrative that threatens to define the party in the eyes of the public. Effective communication strategies and a renewed focus on grassroots mobilisation will be essential to reversing this trend. Moreover, the fallout from Labour's crisis has implications for governance beyond party politics. A weakened opposition diminishes parliamentary scrutiny of government actions, potentially allowing the ruling party to operate with less accountability. This situation raises concerns about democratic oversight at a critical time when policy, decisions on the economy, healthcare, climate change, and national security require robust debate and evaluation. Civil society, watchdog organisations, and the electorate will need to be vigilant to ensure that power is not abused and that democratic principles are upheld despite the turmoil in Westminster. Looking ahead, several scenarios could unfold. In the short term, Labour must navigate the immediate challenges posed by the revolt, either by negotiating a compromise to stabilise Starmer's leadership or by preparing for a transition to new leadership. The party's ability to manage this transition smoothly will be a test of its resilience and organisational strength. In the longer term, Labour will need to redefine itself to reconnect with its base and expand its appeal to a broader electorate. This process may involve revisiting core policies, addressing internal governance issues, and embracing innovative campaigning techniques to engage voters in an increasingly fragmented media environment. In conclusion, the rebellion against Keir Starmer is not an isolated event, but a symptom of wider tensions within British politics. Its resolution will shape not only Labour's future, but also the nature of political competition, governance, and democratic health in the UK. The coming months are critical as the party, its supporters, and the nation grapple with the fallout and seek a path forward. Whether this period marks the beginning of a Labour revival or a prolonged decline depends on strategic decisions, leadership choices, and the ability to unite a divided party in a rapidly evolving political landscape. The stakes have never been higher for the Labour Party and British democracy as a whole. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for the latest updates on UK politics. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Keir Starmer can survive this revolt, or is a new leader inevitable? Stay tuned as we follow this developing story closely. Turn on notifications so you never miss a critical update. Your voice matters. Join the conversation now.